Hi, welcome to this video. We are looking at components of a good essay. What makes up a good essay? How is a good essay structured? Now, if that's what you've been looking for, relax because you've got all you wanted. A good essay must have three parts. Number one, introduction, body, and conclusion. The introduction. This is where the subject matter or the topic is stated. At the introduction, which is usually the first paragraph of your essay, the big picture is briefly but clearly drawn. If you have a very good introduction, then someone will be interested to read your essay, and vice versa is also true. If you have an introduction that is poorly written, without following the things that we are going to discuss in this video, then you're likely going to miss the point in your entire essay. Now, how do you write the introduction? Number one, you must ensure that the introduction has an attention getter sentence. What do I mean by that? It means that your essay must have that sentence that is capturing the attention of the reader, because this is where the reader decides whether to go on with your essay or to brush it off, and therefore you must have an attention getter sentence. Secondly, an essay must be the introduction must move from general to specific. Your introduction must start by making a general statement and then you narrow it down to a specific sentence or a specific idea. And thirdly, at the end of your introduction, there must be a thesis statement that gives an insight to the essay. And the thesis statement gives the reader what the entire essay is going to be all about. Now let's move to the body. How should your body look like? Now you see at the body, this is where all the main points are discussed in details. It is also at the body that you must include evidence and facts to support your essay. Remember, if you have an essay without facts and without giving evidence, then you'll be making noise. You must convince the reader that what you're saying is supportable by facts and evidence. Now, how do you write the body? Number one, we have said that the evidence must be there to support the author's idea. You must support whatever you're saying by giving evidence, facts, and statistics. Number two, the sentences of your body must link the discussion back to the thesis statement. Remember thesis statement that we said at the beginning of the essay? All your sentences in the body must be pointing the reader towards the thesis statement. Number three, your points and ideas should be logically and chronologically presented. You should start from the main points as you move downwards, and your ideas must not be seen to be mixed up without any particular order. You must be logical, and you must be chronological in the manner in which you present your ideas. The topic sentence must be there to introduce the idea in each paragraph. Please let's agree at this point that every paragraph in the body must contain the topic sentence. The topic sentence usually is the first sentence in each paragraph. And your topic sentence should give the reader an idea of what that paragraph is going to be talking about. And your topic sentence should be followed by detailed sentences. The detailed sentences will be there to support whatever fact or whatever statistic has been put in the topic sentence. And lastly, under the body, each paragraph must present a distinct point or idea. You must not have two paragraphs talking about the same idea. No matter how long your idea is, please make sure that it fits under one paragraph. You must have each idea presented in a separate paragraph. And then lastly, the conclusion. At the conclusion, this is where you give a summary of the overall topic or the subject of the essay. Your summary is like it's the last thing that you say. You put all things that you have said in the paragraphs above there together. Okay. Now, your conclusion should, number one, emphasize on the major takeaways of the essay. When someone reads the last paragraph of your essay, we must see a summary of what has been discussed in the body. And so your conclusion must emphasize the major takeaways of the essay. Number two, you should wrap up and summarize the essay as well as the arguments presented. Do not leave your essay hanging. Do not leave your essay hanging, because this is not fictional writing. This is not where we need cliffhangers. This is where we need to see a proper summary of the discussion that has been carried out in the body. And then lastly, your conclusion should restate the main arguments in a simplified and a clear manner. Do not finish your essay without giving a summary or giving takeaway points, what the reader should carry with him or her at the end of your essay. Now, let's assume you're writing an essay with the title, The Impact of COVID-19 on Education in Kenya. Let us look at how what we have discussed can be put into practice when you have such like a title. Now, we have said that the first thing that you must have in your essay is what we call the introduction, the first paragraph of your essay. Now, we said that at the first paragraph or at the introduction, you must state the thesis statement. And the thesis statement comes as the last line in your introductory paragraph. Now, let's look at this paragraph. COVID-19 has had immense impacts on education, both positive and negative. As a matter of fact, probably, this pandemic has affected education than any other. Since the announcement of the first case on the 12th March and the subsequent closure of all learning institutions 3 days later, the education sector has borne the hardest hit of all times. This essay explores the effects of the pandemic, considering both sides of the coin on education in Kenya. Now, looking at this part here, this is what we are calling the thesis statement. I'm going to underline and I'm going to make it bold so you can be able to understand clearly. Now, the underlined part and the bolded part is what we are calling the thesis statement. Remember, we have said that the thesis statement is the main proposition of the essay. It gives the reader a general idea of what the essay is going to be talking about. So this part, the underlined part here, is what we are calling the thesis statement. We have also said that the introduction should give the reader a general overview of what the essay is going to be all about. And that is why you have this part that is saying that since the announcement of the first case on 12th March and the subsequent closure of all learning institutions 3 days later, the education sector has borne the hardest hit of all times. So that gives the reader a general view of what the essay is going to be talking about. Now, after you've had a very nice introductory paragraph, now we proceed to the other part of the essay, and that is the body. Now, at the body, we have said, number one thing is that each paragraph in the body must start with what we call the topic sentence. Let me remind you, the topic sentence is always the first sentence of every paragraph in the body. Now, in this case here, in our first paragraph, the topic sentence comes up to here, which says, first, there has been an inclusion of technology in learning and teaching interaction. That point gives the reader an idea of what that particular paragraph is going to be talking about. And in this case, is the inclusion of technology in the learning and teaching interaction. Now, when you go to the second paragraph as well, you will find that there is the topic sentence. Now, in the second paragraph, the topic sentence is here. There has also been increased participation of families in the learner's learning process. That gives you what that paragraph is going to be talking about, and that is the participation of families in the learner's learning process. Now, when you proceed, the same thing happens to the next paragraph, which is this one. It says, most of the learning institutions in the countries had to postpone their assessments. Now, that is the negative impact of COVID-19. Most of the learning institutions in the country had to postpone their assessments. That tells you that that particular paragraph is going to be dealing with the negative impact of COVID-19 on education in Kenya. So we are basically trying to prove to you and to make you understand that every paragraph in the body must contain the topic sentence. We have said in our discussion that in the body, every paragraph must communicate a separate idea. Now, that is demonstrated. This paragraph is talking about postponement of assessments. Then we have another paragraph here talking about increased participation of families in the learner's learning process. And we had the first sentence, the first paragraph talking about the inclusion of technology in the learning and teaching interaction. So basically, you must have your paragraph talking about a separate or a distinct idea. Do not forget what we said, that each paragraph must contain a separate idea. We insist on that because you should not have jumbled up kind of work. Your work must be chronologically and logically arranged. When someone reads your essay, we must see some decision that is made as far as the organization of your work is concerned. Now, after you write the body, now we go to the the conclusion, sorry for that. We go to the conclusion. Now, the conclusion is the last paragraph of your essay. The conclusion summarizes what you have been discussing throughout the essay. Now, look at the conclusion here. In conclusion, the above examples illustrate beyond any reasonable doubt that education, like any other socioeconomic aspect, has been impacted by COVID-19. These effects have a far-reaching effect and go beyond COVID-19 and education. Now, remember what we said about conclusion, that when a reader reads your conclusion, they must have takeaway points, the things that they are carrying with them from your essay. We also said that your conclusion must summarize what has been discussed in the body. And that is what we have from this point up to here. What you have is a general summary of what the essay was all about. From children being exposed to screen learning, to homeschooling, to academic dishonesty, COVID-19 has had both positive and negative impacts on education. Now, that is what the reader is going to take away from your essay. And as is clearly seen, the conclusion must also point the reader towards the thesis statement that was written in the first paragraph. As you conclude this, you must point the reader towards where we are coming from. That is the thesis statement written on the introductory paragraph. Now, having said that, I believe you're now ready to write your own essay. Thank you for watching this video. You can like the video, comment. We would love to interact with you, by the way, and we would also ask you kindly to subscribe to our channel so that you can get more of these videos. Thank you for watching. See you in our next video.